In Episode 12, Gizarm throws the mortal dark sphere he has prepared towards Lloyd. Lloyd remains calm. From a distance, the mortal dark sphere that Gizarm threw suddenly goes poof and disappears. Gizarm is very shocked and confused about where the powerful magic he just created and threw at Lloyd went. Lloyd then explains that he had erased the mortal dark sphere by colliding it with the same technique. Gizarm becomes furious, not believing that Lloyd could use the same technique as him. Lloyd then demonstrates his magic, the spatial class spell, Void. When facing a barrier or whatever the enemy does, this magic can send it to another dimension. Lloyd had suspected that the technique was just under a different name. Lloyd then recounts how he discovered this magic technique long ago. While experimenting with it on various things during his playtime, Lloyd suddenly thought, what if he collided two voids together? So Lloyd prepared the void magic and tried it. Gizarm, panting heavily, couldn't believe it, wondering to himself if Lloyd didn't realize how much magical power was needed to create a mortal dark sphere. At that time, Lloyd was very excited, wondering what magical reaction he would get. And the result was as they had just witnessed. Intersecting voids would neutralize each other, resulting in mutual collapse. Lloyd's feelings at that time were likely the same as the disappointment Gizarm felt now. Gizarm still couldn't accept the reality that a human could use a technique only a demon lord could use. Gizarm kept mocking Lloyd, planning to possess Lloyd and taste his seemingly weak magical power. Lloyd suddenly sneezes, which makes Gizarm very angry. He then uses teleportation magic to instantly move behind Lloyd and grab his head to sense his magical power. But Gizarm can only stand there, astonished at Lloyd's incredible magical power. Lloyd then says that he is no longer interested in Gizarm. Lloyd asks if Gizarm would die if attacked with void magic. Lloyd then creates many void spells that now scatter through the air and simultaneously head towards Gizarm. Gizarm panics and immediately activates his teleportation magic. However, he still cannot avoid the attack, and one of the voids hits his body directly. The scene then shifts to Albert and Dian, where they both stand on guard, holding their swords. Due to the thick fog, they can hardly see anything. They consider this a great opportunity as it's the perfect time for Riru, Shiro, and Silpha to attack since this battlefield is ideal for those with a sharp sense of smell. Silpha analyzes the demon's movements, which appear to be dull. Besides, Silpha has been smelling a sweet scent for a while. It turns out to be Ren's poison. She is trying to ensure the poison only affects the enemies, although she still can't perfectly control her power. Albert still doesn't fully understand what is happening. He thinks that maybe if the sun comes up, they will be able to see the situation better. Albert then looks at his watch and is shocked because the sun should have already risen by that time. They think maybe the fog is too thick, but after looking at the sky, they see that it looks dark, like it's still nighttime. The dark sky is actually due to Lloyd's actions, who use void magic to defeat Gizarm. Gizarm is seen struggling, trying to free himself from Lloyd's void magic. Gizarm cannot use any of his magic, be it regeneration or teleportation magic, because he is being absorbed into the void along with the magic he was about to use. Gizarm panics, and the only way out is to leave Jade's body. As he tries to exit, Jade's body suddenly bites Gizarm's tail, preventing him from escaping. Gizarm then uses a cunning trick, pretending to be Jade and begging for mercy. Lloyd knows it's just a trick and continues his attack, making Gizarm's body disappear into the void. The black clouds that shrouded the sky then vanish, and as the sky clears, Lloyd seems to see the shadow of Jade smiling before fading away. The members of the Assassin's Guild see the black layer slowly dissipating. Ren then recalls the past, where Jade talked about the Seventh Prince, who was rumored to be an urban legend. Jade had heard that the fireworks explosion incident reported by the Kingdom of Saloum on the Seventh Prince's birthday was actually the magical power released by the Seventh Prince right after his birth. Galilea and the other members of the Assassin's Guild did not believe the gossip. But according to Jade, if the rumor was true, then the Seventh Prince might be able to lift their curse and lead them to a brighter world. And maybe he could be the intermediary for them to live freely. Ren cries remembering that. The battle ends, and they all start making grades for those who have died. Lloyd and Grim also make a grade for Jade. Even though there is no body, it is just symbolic. After finishing, Grim asks Lloyd, Puzzled about how the relatively slow void magic could hit Gizarm's body, Lloyd answers that it was because he had analyzed the teleportation magic down to its core. Lloyd created a magical technique to detect when teleportation would appear. Then he linked it with the void technique. This way, he could avoid or track it. Grimm is amazed by Lloyd as he managed to analyze teleportation magic, which even for Gizarmi was a very difficult technique to understand. Lloyd admits that Gizarmi was a very strong person. Lloyd is aware that analyzing magic techniques while fighting is a very reckless thing to do. But without using that strategy, Lloyd would never be able to attack him. If in the previous fight he hadn't understood the teleportation technique, he might not have felt satisfied. Lloyd explained that when he analyzed the teleportation spell, he saw its magical structure clearly. It was highly structured and easy to understand, truly beautiful. This was because, in his final moments, Jade managed to complete the formulation of the teleportation technique before he left it behind. Jade knew that one day someone would strive to find a way to defeat his teleportation magic. According to Lloyd, the winner was not himself but Jade. From behind a tree, Ren was moved by Lloyd's words, but as she was about to thank Lloyd, Albert approached him with a serious look on his face. Albert then asked about Jade's grave that Lloyd had made. Albert already knew the story about Jade, including how the members of the Assassin's Guild had sought Lloyd's help. He had also heard about the lives of the Assassin's Guild members and their dreams, what Lloyd had done for them, and how Lloyd defeated the Demon Lord alone. Albert was very impressed and proud of Lloyd. However, now Albert was detaining the members of the Assassin's Guild because they were people from the Dark World who worked by killing others. Moreover, they had kidnapped members of the royal family and even involved Lloyd as the seventh prince in the war. This was a fatal mistake. The members of the Assassin's Guild declared that they would serve Lloyd for the rest of their lives to atone for their mistakes. If this was not accepted, they were willing to undergo any punishment. Albert then pointed his sword at Lloyd, asking what his decision would be. This was different from keeping a dog or a cat. If the members of the Assassin's Guild, who had a bad reputation, made a mistake, it would all be Lloyd's responsibility, and it would tarnish the name of the Kingdom of Saloum. Lloyd agreed with all of Albert's statements and admitted that he was the one who started everything, not the members of the Assassin's Guild. Lloyd also said he was ready to take full responsibility if they ever made a mistake. Albert sheathed his sword and advised Lloyd that being the seventh prince did not mean he could do whatever he wanted, and not to think that people wouldn't care about him just because he was the seventh prince. Albert also told Lloyd not to be too rigid. If Lloyd ever had problems, he should try asking for help from others. To Albert, Lloyd was his very precious brother. Everyone was moved by this moment. Suddenly, someone came running towards them from afar. It was Tao, who had heard that Lloyd was in a fierce battle, so she rushed over in a hurry. Tao said that she was ready to help, but when Tao saw the expressions on the faces of the people there, she realized that the battle was already over. Tao felt embarrassed and ran away from the place. Albert asked the others to chase after Tao because he wanted to thank her for helping him in the previous battle. Then, in a warm atmosphere, they had a tea party together as a token of gratitude for Tao's help. Of course, Tao felt happy and also nervous because her wish to have tea with Albert had now come true. To ease the tension, Albert told them that it was a casual gathering, so they could enjoy themselves. They gladly enjoyed the tea party. While they were having fun, Silpha, Elise, and Ren were enjoying a new hot spring created by the earlier battle. While they were bathing together, Ren told Silpha that she wanted to serve near Lloyd like Silpha had been doing all this time. She pleaded earnestly because she wanted to repay Lloyd by protecting him closely. Silpha replied that she couldn't decide that alone and that it was something Ren should ask Lloyd directly. Unexpectedly, Lloyd was also there and immediately answered, "Sure." Ren was startled and moved away from Lloyd. It turned out Lloyd was there because Silpha had dragged him since his body was covered in mud, sweat, and slime. Lloyd noticed that Ren still considered herself blighted. However, this was her inherent ability since birth. In Ren's case, if she could better understand the types of poison she produced and break down its components, she could become a pharmacist who could save many lives. Ren was astonished, realizing for the first time that she could actually save many lives. Lloyd added that poison and medicine are like two sides of the same coin. Ren just needed to understand her power and uncover it little by little. It was a job that required magical technique. Such advancements would be needed in the future, and Lloyd wanted to make it happen. Hearing this, Wren was very moved. She remembered her past when she was ostracized and driven away because of her poison. No one acknowledged her power, not even herself. But now, Lloyd recognized her without any discrimination. Lloyd never even called them blighted. Silpha, who heard Lloyd's words, was also touched. Wren promised to keep fighting with all her might. At the end of the episode, Wren was seen dressing up in a maid's outfit. She then watched Silpha and learned what a maid should do. Lloyd and Albert were seen facing the king. Lloyd looked very panicked and was sweating profusely. But thankfully, as usual, Albert tried to protect Lloyd and impressed the king. Lloyd felt relieved. Later, Grim was seen cleaning the secret library inside the palace. There, Lloyd was relaxing and reading a magic book. The episode ended here.